Hello everyone, welcome back to a new Taekook oneshot. The autumn air carried a gentle chill as Kim Tae-young stepped out of his drive-in car in front of the Seoul National University Business Building. He adjusted the collar of his coat, ignoring the curious glances from students passing by as the heir of KT Enterprises, one of Korea's largest. He was used to the attention. Taehyung wasn't supposed to be here. His father expected him at the company board meeting, but something about the stuffy corporate environment had suffocated him today. Instead, he found himself wandering into an lecture his friend had mentioned. He slipped into the back row just as the professor called for his students' presentation. Most of the projects blended together in Taehyung's mind until a young man stepped forward with quiet confidence. "My name is Jungkook," he began his vast story despite his evident nervousness. "My proposal is to revitalize traditional Korean craft mess through modern business practice." Taeyong found himself leaning forward as Jungkook spoke about his family's furniture business, how his grandfather has built it from nothing, how his father has expanded it before the economic downturn forced its closure, and now how he planned to breathe the new in life into it. There was something complaining about the way Jungkook spoke, passion mingled with practicity, ambition. As a student filed out after class, Taeyong found himself following Jungkook to a small cafe across from campus. He watches as Jungkook settled at a corner table, spreading out his notes while carefully counting counts for his modest order. Taehyung ordered 2 premium coffee and approached Jungkook's table. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, setting one coffee in front of the surprised student. Jungkook looked up, confusion evident in his eyes. "Do I know you?" "Not yet." Taehyung smiled, extending his hand. "I am Taehyung. I was impressed by your presentation today." And the corner table at the cafe became their unofficial meeting spot. Taeyong found excuses to visit the university, always timing his arrival to coincident, and with the end of Jungkook's classes, their conversation started cursingly. Jungkook, polite but reserved, clearly aware of the difference in their circumstances, even though Taeyong had been vague about his family's. Taeyong found himself deliberately leaving his designer item at home, dressing more casual when they met. "Why do you keep coming back?" Jungkook asked one day, his pencil pushing over the. Taeyong considered the question carefully. "I like how you see the world," he finally said. Everything in my life has been but you are building something from scratch with your own hand." Jungkook studied him for a long moment. "You never talk about yourself. What is it that you do exactly?" The moment of truth arrived. Taeyong took a deep breath. "My family owns KT Enterprises." He watched Jungkook's expression change as realization dawned. "The Kim family?" The word make that would make you Kim Taehyung. Yes. Jungkook was quiet for a long time. Taehyung began to regret his honesty. Then Jungkook surprised him. "That explains the coffee," he said with a slight smile. "I thought you were just really bad with money." Taehyung laughed, relief washing over him. "Does it change things?" Jungkook shook his head slowly. Shouldn't you are still the same person who has been giving me terrible business advice for weeks." "Terrible? I Have you know my father would? Taehyung stopped apprehensive, grinning. Actually, he would probably agree with you. That evening, as they walked through the university grounds under gentle falling cherry blossoms, their hand brushed accidentally. Neither pulled away. Summer arrived, bringing with it humidity, evenings, and the accent of rain. Soaked Taeyong found himself spending more time away from his family's expectations, helping Jungkook clean out his father's old workshop. My dad hasn't been in here since the business failed, Jungkook explained, wiping dust from the work. Taeyong ran his finger over the fine of the cherry wood table. These are beautiful. Your family made this. Jungkook nodded, pride evident in his expression. Grandfather father taught me. Not nearly as skilled. So me, Taeyong said pensively. That day turned into evening as Jungkook patiently guided Taehyung's hand, teaching him how to send wood properly. They stood close, Jungkook's chest occasionally pressing against Taehyung's back and his breath warm against Taehyung's neck as he the correct technique. You have to feel the grain, Jungkook murmured. Part, but something has shifted between them afterwards. Sitting on the workshop steps, staring, store came up. I don't just want to restart the business, he confessed. I want to create something that honors the tradition but speaks the modern sensibilities, materials, fireworks, pieces that last generations. They listened, memorized by the passion in Jungkook's voice. You will do it, he said with certainty. I believe in you. Jungkook looked at him, then clear in his expression. Why, you barely know me. I know enough, Taeyong said softly under the glow of the workshop's single light bulb surrounded by sawdust and forgotten dreams. At autumn returned, marking nearly a year since their first meeting. Taehyung has begun taking a more active role in his family's business, attending meetings and learning the operations, but his thoughts remained with Jungkook. The workshop had slowly transformed under their combined efforts. Jungkook's father, seeing his son's determination, has begun to visit occasionally, often offering quiet advice or simply watching as Jungkook crafted small pieces to build his portfolio. One rainy evening, Taeyong arrived to find Jungkook alone for a station, evident in his tense line on his shoulders, as he repeatedly the same section on the chair. They walked in companionable silence for hours. The rain created a soothing backdrop. As the evening deepened, Jungkook put down his tools and simply watched Taehyung work. What? Taehyung asked, suddenly self-conscious. Nothing. Jungkook shook his head slightly. Just thank you for believing in this in me. The vulnerability in his voice made Taehyung's heart ache. He sat down his and moved closer. Jungkook, the kiss, when it finally happened, was tentative. A gentle press of lips, a question more than a statement. Jungkook pulled back first, his eyes searched Taehyung's face. This? Taehyung answered by kissing him again, more firmly. This time, Jungkook's hand came up to cuddle Taehyung's face, thumbs stroking along his jawline with river. I have wanted to do that for months. Jungkook confessed against Taehyung's lips. Why didn't you? Taehyung asked. Their foreheads pressed together. You are Kim Taehyung, Jungkook said simply, as if that explained everything. And you are Jian, Jungkook. Taehyung replies, fingers. Jungkook said, the only person who sees me, not my family name. They stayed like that until the rain stopped talking in whispers about everything and nothing, exchanging soft kisses that felt like promises. Winter on Seoul, bringing with it holiday celebration and family. Thing found himself torn between two worlds, formal corporate events with his family and quiet evening in Jungkook's small apartment where they cook simple meals and talk about their dreams. Their relationship between deepened in those private moments. Jungkook's nature gave way to quiet affection, a hand on the small of them back, a kiss pressed to his temple when he was stressed, gentle teasing that made him feel known in ways they don't belong in that world. You belong with me, Theo insisted. Besides, there will be potential investors there. It could be good for your business after much. Jungkook agreed. Taehyung helped him rent a textbook, coaching him on the formal while assuring him that being himself was more than enough. The night of the gala, Taehyung's briefcase when he saw Jungkook in a formal wear waiting nervously in the hotel lobby. The texture transformed him, highlighting his broad shoulders and slim waist. But it was the determination set in his jaw. Jungkook's sincerity and acknowledgement impressed several guests, and Taehyung felt a surge of pride watching him and hand out the simple business card they would design together. It was during a quiet moment when they had stepped onto a balcony for fresh air that he struck Taehyung catch up in the success of evening, had leaned in to kiss Jungkook just as his father walked into the balcony. Taehyung, his father's voice cut through the night like ice. A word? Look, Mr. Kim gave Jungkook was dismissive at best. Alone, Taehyung excused Jungkook's hand recently before following his father into a private sitting room. What do you think you are doing? Mr. Kim demanded once the door closed behind them. Father, I can explain. There is nothing to explain. I saw everything I needed to see. Mr. Kim's disappointment was palpable. Do you have any idea what's at stake? The merger with and corporation, the future. Is that all you care about? They interrupted, frustration boiling over the company. What about your happiness? My happiness, Mr. Kim's expression hardened. Happiness is a luxury. Our family name carries responsibilities. I have allowed you your freedom until now, but this ends tonight. I love you. Him, Taehyung said, his words escaping before he could consider them. Something changed in his father's eyes, not softening, but a calculated meant love. He repeated coldly, how much do you think your would love you without the Kim fortune behind you? How long before he realized he is better off? Now you have to choose in this tonight, return to your responsibilities and I will forget this happen or continue this and I'll ensure your friend never secure funding in the country again. Young felt as though the floor has dropped from beneath him. You wouldn't. For the good of this family, without hesitation, Mr. Kim moved towards the door. Make your decision by morning. When Thiang returned to the balcony, Jungkook took one look at his face and knew something was wrong. We should leave, Jungkook said quietly, already guiding Taehyung towards the exit. In the safety of a taxi, Taehyung finally broke down, explaining his father. Seeing the city lights, he can, though, he finally said, his voice steady despite the pain in his eyes, and he will. So we fight him, Taehyung insisted. Jungkook took Taehyung's hand, bringing it to his lips. I wouldn't let him destroy your relationship with your family, and I wouldn't let him use you to destroy my dream. What are you saying? I am saying we need to be smarter than him. Jungkook said, determination replacing in his eyes. I am saying I love you too much to let you sacrifice everything for me, and I am saying I am not giving up on us, on my business. That night in Jungkook's small apartment, they held each other as if might be the last time, making promises. Response Mr. Kim wasted no time his control by morning. Taehyung's access to his accounts has been restricted, his movements monitored by company security under the of protection. His father announced that Taehyung would be accompanying him on an extended international business trip, effectively removed him from Seoul. Taehyung managed one last meeting with Jungkook before his departure in a crowded public park where they sat at opposite ends of the bench, not daring to touch. It's only temporary, Taehyung promised. I speak on the children playing nearby rather than on Jungkook's face, knowing his it felt like an eternity as days turned to weeks and then months. They were traveling between Tokyo, New York, and London. Sent postcard to a post office box they had arranged and messages about architecture and furniture design that wouldn't raise suspicion but let Jungkook know he was thinking of him. Jungkook, meanwhile, channeled all his pain and logging into his work. The small commission he had started receiving before the departure began to grow. His dedication to earning him word of mouth recommendations. 6 months after the left, Jungkook secured his first project, stretched his capabilities and resources, requiring him to hire 2 assistants and work punishing hours, but the result catch attention in designing circles. A year into their separation, Jungkook received the first investor, a furniture maker who had known his grandfather and believed in Jungkook's vision. The investment wasn't large, but it was enough to properly establish Yon Craft as a legitimate business and lease proper workshop. Then followed Jungkook's progress from afar. From afar, collecting every magazine article and online mention of Jian crafts in business meeting, he found himself They managed only three brief meetings during those 2 years, once in Tokyo when Jungkook was sourcing wood, once in Seoul during a rare weekend when Taekook convinced his father he needed to handle university alumni matters, and once in Jeju when Jungkook was installing custom furniture for a luxury resort. Each reunion was bittersweet, filled with desperation, embrace, and whisper updates, plans made and revised, hope maintained despite the growing pressure on both of them. During the last meeting, sitting on the beach of at sunset, Jungkook showed Taehoon the business plan of his expanding company. "I'm getting closer," he said, determination evident in his line of body. "Each project brings you more attention, more opportunity, and I'm just surviving anymore." Taehoon leaned his head on Jungkook's shoulder, memorizing the moment. "I'm so proud of you. Are you still sure about this, about us?" Jungkook asked, vulnerability creeping into his voice. "Your world is so different from mine. That's exactly why I need you in it." Taeyoung replies, "You remind me what matters." On Taeyoung's 25th birthday, he returned permanently to Seoul, armed with access to his trust fund and a determination to reclaim his life. His father, seeing his son's maturity and business development during their international experience, losing his control somewhat, allowing them to take charge of several companies. What Mr. Kim didn't know was that Taeyong has been preparing for this moment, working with trusted legal advisors. He had structured his newfound financial independence to ensure his father couldn't interfere again. Jungkook, now the owner of on furniture into interior designing for exclusive clients. His workshop has become a studio. His small apartment traded for a modest but comfortable home with a garden where he grew herbs and vegetables, quite away from the demands of his growing business. The reunion, when they finally happened, was not dramatic but gentle. Thanks simply appearing at Jungkook's garden gate one spring evening, a small wooden box in his hand. Jungkook paused when his one hand pouring say suspended mid-cut for a long moment. Neither spoke. During drinking in the changes 2 years has Taeyoung's face has kept all your postcard, Jungkook finally said, sitting down. Taeyoung held out the wooden box, one of Jungkook's earlier creations that had pursued from a client and tracked down. "I kept everything that reminded me of you." They moved towards each other slowly, as if afraid of sudden movement would shatter the moment. When they finally embraced, it felt like coming home after a long journey. "Anyway, stop it," Taeyoung whispered against Jungkook's neck. "Not for a single day, neither did I," Jungkook replied, his arms tightened around Taeyoung as if he might disappear again. That night, sitting in Jungkook's garden under the stars, they began the careful process of each other, not as the young men they had been, but as the adults they had become. They talked until dawn, filling in the gaps that postcard and brief meetings couldn't cover, discovering with relief has no control over me. Taekook finished. I have made sure of it, but that doesn't mean he wouldn't try to interfere. Jungkook nodded, understanding the complexity of the situation. Then we need to be strategic. Your family's influence is still considerable, so is your growing reputation. Taekook pointed out, you are not the struggling student anymore, Jungkook. You have built something valuable on your own terms. They decided to proceed carefully, rebuilding their relationship privately while Taekook established his independence within the family business more firmly. Publicly, they maintained a friendship based on Taekook's interest in sustainable business parties and Jungkook's in the field. Over the next year, Taekook worked Meanwhile, Jungkook's business continued to flourish. A Lex feature in his designing managing magazine led to international attention. The John Cross began receiving comments from abroad. He expanded constantly, maintaining his commitment to quality and practice. Even as the business grew, their public professional relationship provided cover for their depending personal reconnection. They were frequently seen at industry events together, then promoting Jungkook's work to his connections. Jungkook finding that the poor separation had only strengthened their commitment to each other. They were careful but no longer. The first challenge that their careful balance came when Taekook's father announced his unexpected death. Taekook would marry Songmya, the daughter of prominent business leader. The announcement made a family dinner without prior discussion left them momentarily speechless. I have already arranged for you to take her to the gala next weekend, Mr. Kim said casually as if discussing a routine business meeting. Her father speaks very highly of her business. A suitable match later that night in privacy of their now shared room. The Taekook maintained his official resident as his family's estate. Taekook passed anxiously. He is testing me, he said, running a hand through his hair, seeing how far I will bend before breaking. Jungkook watched him from the couch, his expression thoughtful. What will you do? Taekook stopped passing, and decision may tell him no. If he threatens you positioning in the company again, then I leave. Taekook said simply, I have my trust fund, my education, my experience. Don't need Katie enterprises to define me anymore. The confrontation with his father the next day was tense but controlled. Taekook declined the arranged date firmly, making it clear that his personal life was not open for negotiation. Mr. Kim's face talking with anger. This is about that furniture maker again, isn't it? His name is Jungkook, Taekook said evenly, partly, but it's also about respect. Father, I respect your business. You are throwing away a valuable alliance for someone I love. Taekook interrupted, someone who has built a successful business from nothing through talent and determination, someone who makes me happy. Mr. Kim studied his son with new eyes, recognizing the steel beneath the calm exterior. You have changed. I have grown up, Taekook corrected. Isn't that what you wanted? A tense silence stretched between them before Mr. Kim finally spoke again. Scene merger is still processing as planned. Taehyung nodded, accepting the abrupt change of subject as a temporary truck. The contracts are ready. The final review. Okay. It wasn't acceptance, but it wasn't out rejection either. Taehyung counted it as progress as summer turned to autumn. Katie Enterprises faced unexpected difficulties. A major international partner pulled out of a crucial deal at last minute, leaving the company vulnerable. Simultaneously, negative press began circulating about working conditions in several creative factories, demanding the company's reputation. The board called an emergency meeting where blame was freely practiced and ethic production of complete over and problematic faculties based on the models Jan Kraft has. Jan has successfully implemented this method with several mid-sized manufacturing clients. They have explained deliberately using Jungkook's surname to maintain professional distance. The result has been increased efficiency, better worker and positive press coverage. Mr. Kim's expression was unreadable as the board member discussed his proposal. Finally, he spoke. You believe this Xian can deliver on such a scale? I know he can, Theo replied confidently. After a heated debate, the board approved a trial at one faculty. Theo immediately contacted Jungkook, who agreed to consult. The project brought Jungkook directly into the corporate world he had always avoided. His first meeting with Mr. Kim was tense, both men sizing each other up with barely concealed suspicion. But as work progressed, even Mr. Kim had to acknowledge Jungkook's expertise and professionalism. The factory revolution was completed on time and under budget. Worker productivity increased. At the project completion celebration, Mr. Kim approached Jungkook privately. Your methods are he said, risky but effective. Thank you, Jungkook replied simply. My son seems to think very highly of you. Jungkook made the older man's gaze steady. The feeling is mutual. Mr. Kim studied him for a long moment. When I was young, I said, suddenly I wanted to be an architect. My father told me it was an impractical dream. Jungkook remained silent, sensing there was more. I have built one of the largest in Korea, Mr. Kim continued, but I have never designed a building. He sat down his glass. Don't mistake this for proposal, Mr. Jian, but I am certain it wasn't a blessing, but it was an opening, one small crack in a wall that had separated their walls. The success of the factory revolution led to the formal partnership between Katie Enterprises and John Crafts, with Jungkook's company headlining its sustainability for several more Katie faculties. The agreement arrangements benefited both businesses, providing John Crafts with stable contacts while improving Katie operations. and public image. More importantly, it brought Jungkook and Taehyung's relationship gradually into the open. Working together professionally gave them legitimacy reason to be seen together, making their eventual public acknowledgement as a couple less shocking to both families and business associates. Jungkook's parents, concerned about their son becoming involved with such a prominent family, grew to appreciate Taehyung's genuine affection for their son and respect for their family's craft. Mr. Kim's acceptance came more slowly and incompletely. He maintained a professional respect for Jungkook but remained reserved about their personal relationship. Mrs. Kim, however, surprised everyone by forming a warm bond with Jungkook after he designed a custom writing desk for her that incorporated elements from her childhood home. 3 years after their reunion, on the anniversary of their first meeting, Taehyung and Jungkook stood together in the renovated workshop where their journey has become now expanded and modernized. It's served as both Zion crafts. I have something for you, Jungkook said, handing Taehyung to a covered piece in the corner. He removed the cloth to reveal a stunning cherry wood desk with a stable of dark wood forming the constellation visible as the night of their first kiss. I started making the day after you left, running his finger along the smooth surface. I worked on it literally to time wherever I missed you most. I tried the inland stars, emotion tightening in his throat. It's beautiful. Open the door, Jungkook. Jungkook softly inhaled. Inside lay a small wooden box, cherry wood. Taehyung lifted it with trembling hands and opened it with two simple "We can't legally marry here yet, but I wanted something that symbolized our commitment, our journey." Taehyung looked up, tears shining in his eyes. "Are you asking me to marry you, Jungkook? I am asking you to build a life with me," Jungkook replied, taking Taehyung's hand in his. "One day at a time, the day we build everything else with patience, determination, and love." Taehyung's answer was to pull him into a place that held all the certainty, all the devotion, all the hard-won joy of their journey. 5 years later came Jian Enterprises stood as a model of innovation, sustainability business practiced with Taehyung and Jungkook leading Kim family composed once a place of restrictions for Taehyung has been converted into a design center where traditional craftsmanship and modern technology come together. Mr. Kim, gradually softened by time and his son's unwavering determination, had developed a recurrent respect for their son-in-law's business, occasionally even seeking Jungkook's advice on matters of sustainable development. In the private garden behind the home, a modernized hammock that blended Jungkook's love. Evening fell, and lanterns illuminated the garden. Jungkook found Taehyung sitting alone by the small pond, watching the koi swim lazy circles in the moonlight. "Penny, for your thoughts?" Jungkook was sitting beside him. Taehyung leaned into his warmth. I was just thinking about all the moments that led us here. The workshop, the postcards, and the factory project. They were precious. Came here, who wouldn't take no for an answer? Jungkook added with a smile. The equally stubborn furniture maker who revealed his family legacy from scratch. Taehyung countered, reaching for Jungkook's hand. We were both so young, weren't you? Weren't we? Did you even imagine we would end up here? Jungkook, considering the question with thumb ups. Turned to face him fully. Do you remember what you told me the night you gave me this? He asked, touching the band on his finger. That I want to build a life with you, Jungkook recalled. One day at a time, Taehyung added. We have had almost 2,000 days since then. I have treasured everyone. From inside came the sound of their friends and families celebrating. And so everyone, how was it? Comment it down. And hope you enjoyed it. I will be back with another Taekook love story. Till then, take care. Bye bye.